Sam Nate George, Communications Minister, who is now telling us that it is likely that today your DSTV may not be working. So for those of you watching us on DSTV, probably in a few hours from now, if the minister's word is anything to go by, and of course, nothing ever changes, that will mean that your DSTV may not be working. And overnight, getting to somewhere midnight, we spent time with Ghana's High Commissioner Designate to South Africa, because already we understand that there's a concern emerging from Pretoria, the South African government raising concerns that all of these issues ought to be addressed properly, because they feel that it should be resolved amicably. Mind you, of course, South Africa has a lot of interest here in the likes of MTN and the others. So the concern now is, in terms of investor sentiment, there are some worries that, of course, if this is not handled well, there may be a retaliatory decision by the South African government, the reason for which the belief now is that everyone ought to tone down. But will the minister do that? That's been the concern, and many asking questions as to what might be the next move of Sam George, the communications minister. Probably it's a good time now to just relieve that moment, bring you back excerpts of that conversation with High Commissioner Benjamin Kwashe, who is the ambassador designate or High Commissioner designate to the Republic of South Africa. They believe now is that in the next few hours, of course, some more engagements will take place, and there are hopes that the president will also intervene. So let's listen to excerpts of that, and then we'll look at the two other stories that we have on the agenda for this morning. Please stay.
What makes it difficult for some of us as diplomats is that we've just gone through orientation and we've been given KPIs. The KPIs, we need to achieve them because there's a reset agenda that has to do with diplomacy as well. And I believe that ambassadors are supposed to go out there, get people to come and invest in the country and all of that. So when it happens like that, it becomes a bit challenging. But I can assure you that the President John Dramani Mahama we know and his administration, I am sure that in the days and weeks to come, we'll get...
Why is it difficult for anyone in government to just ask the communications minister to at least tone down? Is it because he's confident that, well, this is the only way out?
The communications minister is not just operating in a vacuum. He has indicated as to pricing policies in the sub-region. He believes that we are not getting value for money. He believes that we are paying more than we are getting. And I think that the first communique that came from MultiChoice, they also indicated that there are certain operational costs that they are incurring. That is why it's going to be difficult. In fact, in their first release, they indicated that they were going to consider reducing prices, but not under the time frame that the Minister of Communication has given. But I believe also that the Minister of Communication also believed that over the years, they've been able to take more and have given us not the kind of service that we want. I think that the Communications Minister, we all know him, he wants to enforce the law, and I believe that we'll go to him and passionately appeal with him that this is the Africa we want. This is the trade we want among ourselves. You see, the good thing is that when he did it with MTN, quickly it was resolved. MTN also has got its roots from South Africa, and it was resolved. So I can tell you confidently that South Africa is not happy to have a trade war with us when it comes to MultiChoice. They want to get this resolved, and according to what the minister is saying, I'm sure that we'll get it.
Some say we shouldn't even worry as Ghanaians, because whatever the case, MultiChoice is exiting the Ghanaian market. Canal Plus will be the ones on board, and that will present us with new opportunities. Is there more to it in terms of investment? Because some would say MultiChoice is going anyway.
Well, and so that is where we are looking at the diplomatic aspect of it, so that even if they are going, they don't go bitter. They don't think that their businesses were not appreciated in Ghana. I'm saying that MultiChoice, you and I know that MultiChoice, I remember when I was having this discussion at home, I was told that if MultiChoice is gone, how do you watch your soccer on EPL and others? But I think that the interests of the Ghanaian people come first. The interests of the South African business people also comes first. We would need to marry the two and ensure that we do what is right for both parties. The minister believes, and I also believe, that MultiChoice has indicated that it's true, we'll have to do a reduction, but not under the framework that we have now. How do we solve it? We need to sit down and ensure.
Some say this was a...
What makes it...
Okay, the question as to what will happen. An amicable solution is what the diplomats are asking for. And we're still watching that tab because Sam George has posted that he will be proceeding to shut down DSTV today. It's the D-Day for DSTV, if you want to call it as such, but we're still watching the space. Hopefully, we don't get cut off for those of you who are watching us on DSTV. So we'll take a look at all of that and how government intends to deal with the situation, plus the stories on the Chief Justice, removal and Akwetia by-election. We'll do all of that when we get back from this break. I'll tell you about my guests and our studio audience who are joining us this morning as well. Welcome to Prime Insight. Please stay.
What makes it difficult for some of us as diplomats is that we've just gone through orientation and we've been given KPIs. The KPIs, we need to achieve them because there's a reset agenda that has to do with diplomacy as well. And I believe that ambassadors are supposed to go out there, get people to come and invest in the country and all of that. So when it happens like that, it becomes a bit challenging. But I can assure you that the President John Dramani Mahama we know and his administration, I am sure that in the days and weeks to come, we'll get...
Why is it difficult for anyone in government to just ask the communications minister to at least tone down? Is it because he's confident that, well, this is the only way out?
The communications minister is not just operating in a vacuum. He has indicated as to pricing policies in the sub-region. He believes that we are not getting value for money. He believes that we are paying more than we are getting. And I think that the first communique that came from MultiChoice, they also indicated that there are certain operational costs that they are incurring. That is why it's going to be difficult. In fact, in their first release, they indicated that they were going to consider reducing prices, but not under the time frame that the Minister of Communication has given. But I believe also that the Minister of Communication also believed that over the years, they've been able to take more and have given us not the kind of service that we want. I think that the Communications Minister, we all know him, he wants to enforce the law, and I believe that we'll go to him and passionately appeal with him that this is the Africa we want. This is the trade we want among ourselves. You see, the good thing is that when he did it with MTN, quickly it was resolved. MTN also has got its roots from South Africa, and it was resolved. So I can tell you confidently that South Africa is not happy to have a trade war with us when it comes to MultiChoice. They want to get this resolved, and according to what the minister is saying, I'm sure that we'll get it
Some say we shouldn't even worry as Ghanaians because whatever the case, MultiChoice is... And thanks for staying with us on Joy Prime. This is Prime Insight. So let me tell you about my guests helping us to do the conversation for today. Ivan Chase, youth activist, has always been on the show. Thank you, Ivan, for spending time with us this morning. We have Yaa Jantuah, who's a presidential staffer. Fatimatu Abubakar is the former minister for information, all joining us this morning. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for joining us. And of course, I'm much more excited because last week we got a lot of backlash that you don't allow the women to come on the show. So it's good to have all of you join us this morning. Then we have, as usual, our studio audience who always come in, student leaders from the universities, also some of the interest groups. It's always good to have all of you join us. Paul Amwako is Deputy Spokesperson for the Alliance for Food Soldiers Advocacy, AFA. Kamal Bruni is also with that group. He's, in fact, the spokesperson joining us this morning. We have Amantana Said Mashoud, who's from the University of Ghana. He's coming here with a lot more colleagues. There's Said Sulemana, Ramsey Idris Sulemana, and Iman Napasi, all joining us this morning. We also have Julius Selikem from ATU, who's also in the audience, and Sulemana Ibrahim Musa, who's chief clerk at the University of Ghana Parliament, I understand. He's a big man, isn't it? Okay, so good morning to all of you. And in the last few hours, MultiChoice has just come up, the DSTV issue has just come up, and so probably we'll just brush that off quickly, and then we move into the Chief Justice removal and all of that. Ivan, what do you think? The concerns that now the South African authorities are concerned about what's happening, and the diplomats are asking that we tone down. What do you think?
Yes, good morning to your viewers and everyone around. I think it's quite a bit complex of an issue that we need to resolve. Because if you look at how this whole thing is unfolding, it's a complex tale of some sort of diplomacy and some public sentiment being fueled by a certain rage among Ghanaians.
Right.
And I think that is a legitimate concern that has to be addressed. You might not like the approach, especially the grandstanding position by the minister on social media. I think it's a bit quite unfortunate.
You're calling it grandstanding? Really?
I support the reduction in the prices. But you see, because there is a bit of diplomacy in some of these things, I think the approach should be a bit less the way we say it. That's my position. Because multi-choice in recent time has been going through the same pricing cycle in Africa. Recently, it happened in Nigeria. It was resolved in court. And I think that, you see, some of these things point to a structural weaknesses that we've always been complaining about, because we shouldn't be having this kind of a discussion. For me, I think that if we have systems and structures in place, some of these things will be taken care of by the system itself. You will not have a minister engaging directly with a multinational company, this back and forth. So is it going to be that the next time from, how do you call it, multi-choice, we are moving to MTN, and then another? Do we have systems in place that take care of some of these things? So I think these things should not be an individual fight.
The minister is much more concerned about disrespect, isn't it? He says, well, it's about regulation. MTN had a similar problem. It's been resolved.
Yes.
What's so difficult for multi-choice to just join the committee he says he was forming?
I think disrespect, it depends where you stand and how you want to say it. But for me, I think we should focus on the issues at hand and get all the parties involved and have this particular issue.
Do you think it was right for multi-choice to come out publicly to say, well, we didn't agree on a price reduction with the minister?
It was highly unnecessary. Maybe they also wanted to clarify it, but it was highly unnecessary, because I think what is important for now is resolving this whole thing, because as we speak, there are a lot of subscribers in Ghana who have already paid their money. So if this particular service is truncated...
Oh, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about
yes.
that. Yeah, so some people have paid for subscriptions already.
Yes,
yeah.
And today there are matches. So are you going to compensate them for that? So you see, it's a whole lot of... It's a complex thing. That is what I'm saying, that we need to just be very diplomatic in our approach and make sure that it's a win-win situation, because at the end of the day, the people of this country will become victims within this temporal period that this thing is taking off, you understand?
This is not the first time the minister has moved on the issue of price reduction. He did that with the telcos on the issue of the data.
Yes, yes.
He secured that for us. Ghanaians were happy.
Oh, yeah,
In fact, I'm using one of these bundles.
Yes, I'm all for a reduction, because if you look at the disparity in the pricing in the sub-region, it's quite outrageous. We've been cheated for a very long time. I'm happy Sam George has taken over this bold initiative just to ensure that there's a slash down, so that at the end of the day, Ghanaians will be a bit relieved. With the recent reduction in the dollar and the prevailing economic situation on the ground, I think something needs to be done. But over the years, some of these multinational companies come and take advantage because there is a laxity in terms of how our laws operate, and they take advantage of it. So I think this is an opportunity, but it shouldn't be seen as an individual between and a company, but rather there should be systems in place that should spell out what has to be done. The pricing modalities, there are structures in place that deals with some of these things, so that at the end of the day, you might not be engaging directly with this sort of a banter here and forth. And I think we just have to resolve this issue once and for all.
Fatih, there was a statement earlier when this came up from the minority side in Parliament. In fact, their main concern was about caution, because you don't want to create ruffle investor sentiments out there, because a lot of people are watching, those who want to invest and all of that. But the minister is also concerned about pricing for Ghanaians. So where should our priority lie, actually?
Good morning, Blessed, and also to Nana. I'm always excited to see my sister meeting Ivan for the first time, and also to your distinguished studio guests. I believe at every point in time, and also probably over the period, my position on some of these issues has shifted, also because I was a minister. And if there is any lesson, especially for the young ministers, is to understand how to navigate diplomacy. A lot of results have been achieved and can continue to be achieved without any public spectacle, without reducing delicate conversations to social media banter, or who gets the most clicks, or who gets the most attention out of it. It is not an ego thing. If we have a situation within the information space, and at the time as information minister, I need resolution, I will not put camera on it. It is important to engage in a lot of behind-the-scenes negotiations to ensure that, one, you have investor confidence in the state, you would assume that this is just a banter between DSTV and Sam George. It is not. Any other person seeking to bring FDI to Ghana will be looking at how Ghana does business, how the country treats investors. Are we compliant with the GIPC Act? Are we compliant with the Free Zones Act? Is there some semblance of independence in terms of management, in terms of private entities for their operations? What are we running? Is this a socialist state? Are we seeking monopoly over free markets? What is the direction of government? And when there is confusion and investors don't have clarity on some of these matters, they do not want to put their money in any country. Someone will say, no, but he's fighting for Ghanaians. We are not fighting for investors. There is a reason why, over the period, if you look at all the principles in economic law and energy law, that establishes a basis for North-South relationship and also the relationship between investors and sovereign. Because for developing countries and lower middle income countries, you need investments. You need people to pump revenue and start up capital into the system. You need them to. No, that's not what I'm saying. Right. You need them to create jobs, create opportunities for the young people of the country. Multi-choice employees. Probably there is a whole value chain that with the benefit of someone with expertise or some academic writing of a sort, throwing spotlight on it, we would understand the scale of their investment. But I am saying that we should bear in mind that some of these negotiations can happen and results can be achieved without necessarily having a social media banter and without putting camera on it to show who is right. I believe if there was something like that and at the end of the day, the minister is able to communicate that we have successfully negotiated with multi-choice, this is where we are today, people will be excited. But the back and forth, allegations, denial, we've agreed to this, we haven't agreed to that, it's a spectacle that I am saying is not good for the image of a country like Ghana that is seeking to attract a lot of FDIs.
One more issue before I bring in Anaya. The point about experience, of course, you served as, at some point, as Minister responsible for information. Has pricing always been the concern, or there's been more with regards to the operations of DSTV?
During our time, issues of communication, as in telecommunication and network and cybersecurity, were all under the Ministry of Communication. And in instances like this, you may not even see the minister publicly engage in the process. The NCA is a regulator, is a key player established by statutes. They have their management. NCA has revoked licenses without having any minister come out to fight any company. And if they are able to establish basis for it after failed negotiations, it happens. But the situation whereby it appears the minister has taken over, for the minister responsible for his supervisory role, his policy direction, reflecting the vision of the president, has taken upon himself the role of the regulator, the role of everything in the sector, and being the one to publicly exchanging words and arguing and throwing allegations about, I think it's not good for the image of the country. And I would advise my brother Sam George that some of these things, it is not just enough that we have public spectacles. In the interest of the country and the public, we should have some behind-the-scenes conversations. And at this point, I believe it will get to a time probably they will escalate the issue to the presidential level for them to engage leaders to prevail to see how
in fact,
they can resolve the matter.
That's why I want to hear from Nanaya, because you are at the presidency. Sam George announced last night after MultiChoice came out that, look, he's proceeding to shut down DSTV. Will the president intervene? Is it time for the president to come in and to say, well, let prevail? Yeah.
But you forgot to say that I was the former general secretary of CPP.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
very important.
We always have to state that.
Yes.
Yeah, on the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, good morning to your cherished. I'm excited to meet the young ones.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning to you all. And good morning to my sister. I miss you. Opposition is doing you well. And
By
good
the
morning.
grace of God.
And good morning to my dear. You see, I'm listening to Fatih talking nicely, but the point is that You see, to be escalated to the presidency. What has happened in the presidency concerning DSTV?
No, the need for the president to come in and
But I am saying that what has happened in the presidency concerning DSTV? DSTV has been disconnected in the presidency because of pricing.
Oh.
All offices in the presidency, including the president's office, we are not watching DSTV because of cost.
So what do you watch then?
We watch the local TV, the television, free to air. Yes. I mean, we are not watching because of cost, because of price. I disagree with Fati. See, Fati is talking about international economic law. That is book. You see, that one is in book. You learn it to pass an exam practically. We should let the investors know that this is Ghana. You cannot go anywhere and do what you like. Bless, do you understand me? There should be a dichotomy and a balance between what the investor can do as an investor, getting his or her money, repatriating their capital and their profits, and also dealing with Ghanaians. We might have a free market situation, but it does not mean that Ghanaians should be treated anyhow. Multi-choice that we are talking about, what kind of service are they rendering to us? The premium is almost 1,000 Ghana cedis. The premium. So they have different segments. They have sports, they have films, they have Africa Magic, they have Aquaba Magic, that is the Ghana channel. They have rocks, they have the French channels, they have the Chinese channels. But I am saying that, meaning that they have segmented it to satisfy the need of every customer. But I am saying that watch DSTV, repetitions, old films. One program can be repeated 3-4 times.
But it is a paid channel, so if that's the case, you don't like the service, you don't go in for it, isn't it? It's as simple as that.
That is the point, but I'm saying that most people have gone in for it because of the football. Me, in my home, I wish I could just disconnect it. But the football aspect, the men in my home want the football. So most people go for it because of the football, the men, the homes. Now even women are into the football. Do you get me? That is the attraction. Me, I prefer Netflix. Netflix is cheaper. It has a wide range of modern films, new films. But DSTV is expensive, and their product, I've said it and I'll say it again, their product is not fit for purpose. When you take out the football aspect, all of the programs, me, I watch TLC a lot, you see repetitions.
But why can't government just engage multi-choice?
But they don't engage. You see, nobody is talking the historical. When this whole business started, some judge, the NCA started it. Then the minister came in. It was very cordial. You didn't find him coming out to talk the way maybe people think he's talking. But he's passionate about the issue. Do you know how many complaints have gone to him? Me, I thought that the first time that the presidency decided to cut DSTV, it should have been a cue to them. Because if you are in a country as an investor and the presidency decide not to use your product, what does it mean? It should have been a cue for them to understand that there is a problem. And you see, when you are in a sovereign state, you need to succumb to the rules and regulations and actions of that sovereign state. The fact that we need investors does not mean that we should allow anything to happen. No.
Do you like what's going on social media?
I haven't watched. I'm not a social media.
Because some judges on X posting, multi-choice is also doing same.
Why should multi-choice, if this is a sovereign nation, and you are coming to do investment, you are getting money. So if they are not making any profits, then they should just say that you are worrying us, we are folding up. The fact that they are still here means that there's some kind of benefit that is inuring to their activity. So why don't you also calm down and say, this is your country, I am here. Do you get me? This is what you are saying. I might not like the way you said it, but there might be a reason why you said it.
There are some people who accuse government of playing politics with this because you feel that, well, a lot of people are on board with you on this. It's time to bully.
It's got nothing to
DSTV.
do with politics. There's no bullying in here. This is our country. I mean, we should start understanding what this Ghana is. And we should start understanding what this color is. This color is Ghana. You, me, Fatty, everybody here, we are Ghana. So if you come around and you are doing business and we say that we are, then it means that any investor can come and do whatever they like. Me, I worked in investment promotion for a very long time, GIPC free zones, before I came into energy regulation. Do you get me? The investor has to go according to rules and regulations, but apart from the rules and regulations that we have, do you get me? That is steeped in law. We also have to look at the social aspects of whatever they do. It is very, very important. And in utility regulation and in tariffs, we call something a decision variable. A decision variable is where you look at all the social factors. You don't only look at the economic factors. So this is the decision variable that some judge is trying to bring out with NCA. He didn't do this. And you see, NCA is under the Ministry of Communications. And for me, anything Ghana, we have to look at it. I do not think that some judges got up one day and said, DSTV, go, or DSTV, reduce your... There must be some complaints that have gone to NCA.
Right.
Ghanaians have spoken. And do you know the numbers? Look, I know somebody who told me that people are not even, paying their subscription anymore. They cannot, because it is not cheap.
But Fatih, MultiChoice has also raised that concern that, look, there is piracy in the system, people are hacking our systems and all of that. We're not even as profitable as you think we are.
And that is why I was saying that Nana was talking about books. It's not about books. Nobody is against government or its assigns negotiating with any foreign company. We are saying that there is a way to go about this without jeopardizing the reputation of the country when it comes to doing business, because we need the business. Ghana doesn't have a lot of unicorns. Probably Dangote Cement, Nigeria, they may have. We have a very extensive entrepreneurial market. But if you look at the contribution to GDP, the actual numbers, you realize that we always need investments. So why not, if you have reservations about MultiChoice, and let me put this in context. MultiChoice is not just about DSTV. MultiChoice has multiple products. Showmax, GoTV, DSTV, and also at the various subscription categories. There may be reservations about premium. There may be reservations about compact or compact plus. But someone is also using GoTV and probably paying 90 cedis at the end of the month. So
But
if there is,
it's no longer
so
90
if there is reduction in pricing, it's something that we'll always negotiate. Remember that last year, or barely a year ago, when we had this challenge with cable cuts in the sea when it comes to the fiber optic cables, the government had to step in and say, what are the alternative ways to get Ghanaians affordable internet at top speed? And that's how come we needed to quickly introduce Starlink into the Ghanaian market. And what that proliferation was supposed to do was to give alternatives in the market, to break the monopoly from probably a telco that has established or built a lot of network and has a substantial control over the market, and introduce an alternative that may eventually be cheaper. And I'm saying that it is not as if there is only one solution in this situation. If it's all about the subscriptions, because MultiChoice has enjoyed monopoly over a long period of time, you ask yourself, is there any company or product on the global market that we can introduce in the Ghanaian space to introduce competitiveness, to naturally beat down the price because there is no monopoly?
Right.
Is there a way even to negotiate in different directions? And you know there is an ongoing acquisition with DSTV so far as Canaplu is concerned. So there are tiers to the negotiation. And I'm saying do a lot of it behind the scenes, in camera, rather than social media banter. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, we'll be talking about the Chief Justice issue shortly, but I want us to close the chapter on this. Let me come to Ivan, get a few comments in the audience, and then we'll wrap up. Ivan, the point about football, of course, you analyze you analyze football sometimes.
Yes.
And so the EPL is the main selling point, as Nanaya is pointing to,
Yes.
for this DSTV platform.
Yeah.
But a lot of voice will be mad if DSTV is off right now.
Yes, but I think the issues are quite complex, and I think we need to look at the pricing modalities. That is very, very important, because if the price comes down, a lot of people are going to hook on, and I think it will be even a benefit to DSTV. But the issue is that if you look at the pricing disparities, like I mentioned, what is being paid in Ghana is totally outrageous, and something has to be done about it. So the question is that how did we get here? That point to the structural weaknesses and the framework that I mentioned, you understand? Because very often some of these multinational companies come to Ghana because our laws are very weak. They come here, make the money, and they repatriate everything away, because there are no systems and measures in place that says, hey, keep a certain percentage of your profit in this country for some time. They take everything away. So at the end of the day, if the GDP is red, they mention huge figures. But at the end of the day, all these monies leave the shores of this country in dollars, and they leave us impoverished. For me, that is the problem. So in looking at all these things, we need to tighten our laws just to make sure that some of these things is taken care of. And again, we must also be looking at breaking the monopoly, because all this thing is brought about because of the tacit monopoly that Multistroy enjoys.
So you feel we should just bring in more, as many as...
Yeah, exactly. So that when we break the monopoly, I think that will be down the price, and there will be some sort of a competition among the players, and people might want to introduce certain pricing modality just to ensure they woo customers. And I think these are some of the things that we need to do and ensure that...
But are they the only ones who can provide the football service, by the way?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There are several other companies out there, but maybe because of the price, and they may also look at the sub-region and look at how the market value, what they are going to gain at the end of the day. But I think as a state, the state can have some sort of engagement discussion with some of these companies and see if we can bring some of them, because that is the only way. If we allow MultiChoice to play whatever they are doing, obviously, I think the monopoly would obviously take to their advantage.
Kamal, you had wanted to come in with the point? Yes.
No.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Blessed, thank you for the opportunity. I think I agree with Yaa Jantuah on the repetition aspect of DSTV. When you take the sports as aspects of DSTV out, DSTV is just a normal decoder that one can really testify to. I have stopped using mine for some time now, and because it's not wet, especially when the season is over. It becomes a wetless adventure. But where I also disagree with her has to do with where she said they are in our country, they have to conform with our laws, true. But what dawned on me was that, okay, we are in the same country where the government quotes its rates in dollars. American Embassy quotes a different rate. Could the government have used the same approach they're using on DSTV today? Which I note, there's no way the government could have exacted some pressure on the embassy. So much as we agree that they have to conform, that's where I come to my honorable former minister, where we stress on the diplomacy aspect, because regardless of what is happening, we have to narrow it down to diplomacy. And I think it's high time our minister comes to the realization that he's a minister now. There are certain things, some of them take to social media. You ask yourself, if you write, because now you don't have your personal disposition where you can say, okay, I'm writing it in my capacity as some Honorable Sam George again. You are not a minister of state, so we should look at that angle. Lastly, what I want to add has to do with what Ivan just said. It does do one of the best options the minister could have done was to look for other competitors to come into the market. But naturally, the prices will be driven down. That is what we have to look at, other than having that straight banter with them. It doesn't inspire investor confidence. That is a fact.
Right. Maybe any takers? Yes, briefly. 30 seconds so we can get
all right, thank you very much. So this whole DSTV multi-choice issue is something that we really need to look into. All right, so somewhere last year, the reason why multi-choice said they were increasing their price was because of the depreciation of the cedi.
Right.
Now, so somewhere around early this year, somewhere around April, May, thereabouts, we saw a very good appreciation of the cedi, yet they refused to reduce their prices. And I'm on social media almost all the time, and I've seen a lot of people complain about how DSTV prices are very, very high. And because of that, they can't even register for football and a whole lot of stuff. So with that, we really need to look into that. But with the issue of Sam George always coming to social media, you know, trying to go back and forth with some of these things, it's needless, it's unnecessary. You understand? I feel like they can do some of these things without really dirty their laundry on the media. So I think at this point, the presidency needs to come in. They should go on a negotiation table. At the end of the day, they'll all leave the table happy, so that this whole back and forth would, you know, go away.
Okay. Thank you. Any last takers before we go? I think there's a gentleman behind there. Yes. Yeah. Let's get your point then, please.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. My concern is about Honorable Sam George coming to the media.
Yeah.
Coming to the media to go back and forth. It's not a back and forth. He's trying to take Ghanaians along to know what is going on. Me, I'm sitting here. I might not know what is going on. You go and negotiate with multi-choice, and at the end of the day, we don't know what is going on. But if he comes to the media and he enlightens us on what is going on, we have the fair idea that, oh yes, our minister is doing this to help us. I'm a football lover. If DSTV sat down today, football is on break right now.
Yeah.
If they come back, I'll be bored. So it would be very good that multi-choice take that time to reduce their prices and to benefit Ghanaians.
Right. Okay, thank you. So let's move into the next issue. In fact, there's someone else. Yes.
My take is that I think we should have a local station here, a TV station, because with the DSTV, it's about the football aspect. That's what most of us do like about DSTV. And if you're able to pay our TV license, if we enforce the Ghanaian citizens to pay the TV license, I think GTV can come in and then telecast these football matches.
Okay, you want us to give the rights?
To them, yeah.
I mean, that would be a lot.
No, if only we are paying. But I think we are not paying.
Yeah.
I think we are not paying. So if we are paying,
you want us to be?
Yeah, I want us to go there. Locally, we can just at least.
Yeah, but that's a good suggestion. We even increase the TV license. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
In future, we can look at cutting down some of the bonuses of the Black Stars to add up.
I see. That's another controversial one. Anyway, thank you, Kamal. Okay, so on to the Chief Justice story now, because she's no longer the Chief Justice. The acting Chief Justice has long since taken over. But now the presidency has confirmed that, of course, the president's decision is that Gertrude Torkornoo will no longer be our Chief Justice. Ivan, your take on that, the fact that, well, it's the end of the road. With just one petition. There were actually two.
Yes.
The first one caught her in the web.
Yes, from where I sit, I think was appropriate because a constitutional process was activated, it was followed through, and at the end of the day, per the dictates of the Constitution, whatever the recommendation that the committee comes up with, the president is enjoined to go ahead with it. That is exactly what happened. Yes, I've listened to a lot of concern being expressed by people regarding the future of our democracy and other issues. But for me, where I sit that the president received a petition from a Ghanaian who felt that certain things had gone on in the judiciary that were inappropriate. And a petition was sent to the president. The president is mandated by the Constitution to forward the same petition to the Council of State. And that is exactly what he did. The Council of State went through the petition, and they were able to establish merit in the face of the various grounds that has been stated under Article 146. And then the committee was set up. The president signed a warrant. That is a discretion that only the president can exercise, because per the Constitution, if prima facie is established in that situation, the president can sign a warrant, and that is a discretionary power only the president can exercise, and he did so. And President Mahama wasn't the first person to do that. I remember when Justice Derry and 4 others had issues with ANAS, and prima facie was established in their case, President Akufo-Addo signed a warrant suspending them pending investigation. When the investigation ended, the committee recommended that they be removed. So for me, this is not a novelty. It has been done before. But what I find quite mind-boggling was some of the the disposition of the Chief Justice in reacting to some of the situations.
You mean the former Chief Justice?
Yeah, former Chief Justice.
Right.
I was quite shocked with some of the reactions and some of the comments that she was making. First of all, when the president forwarded the petition to the Council of State to establish merit and to establish what they call the prima facie, she came out asking for a ruling from the Council of State. And I'm like, Council of State is not an adjudicatory body. They are not lawyers. It is not an adjudicatory process. What they are supposed to do is to review whether there is legitimate grounds for that particular petition. Because don't forget that the Constitution states 3 grounds upon which the Chief Justice can be removed: infirmity, both body and mind, misbehavior, and incompetence.
Stated misbehavior. Well, I have issues with that, but anyway, just
stated misbehavior. These are the 3 grounds. So because the Council of State is not an adjudicatory body, they cannot go into the legalities and the constitutionalities of the petition that has been submitted. So they only situate the petition within these 3 parameters to see whether they are competent in the face of the Constitution. And that is exactly what they did. So to demand for a ruling from the Council of State, I found like this is not an adjudicatory body. So what ruling are you looking for? You understand? And you see, over the years, I keep telling people that we are not growing as a country. If you look at the Constitution, that provision, it says the president should forward the petition to Council of State. The processes and the guidelines that has to be followed to ensure that the Council of State arrive at a decision that has never been written anywhere. There is no procedural arrangement that has to be followed. So there is some kind of ambiguity hanging that particular process.
You feel we should review that provision in the Constitution?
As I keep telling people, there are several portions of our Constitution have outlived their usefulness, and we really need to approach them radically and review.
So then we're not fair to the former Chief Justice then?
No, but she was Chief Justice. She saw these things. She didn't do anything. And some people in the past...
She's just a Chief Justice. I mean, she's not into
no, but if you and I sitting here can just look at the Constitution and see there are several portions of it which have outlived their usefulness, a Chief Justice ought to have known it. You understand? Because
and do what about it, really?
No, you say democracy is a growing process. We can activate a conversation and have some of these things. Before the election, there was this social media argument that we needed to do something about our Constitution. Now, President Mahama has set up a committee. They are going through the Constitution just to have it reviewed, because constitutions are supposed to be a living document reflecting daily aspirations, wishes, and whatever that is happening within the country. So always you need to update it. It must grow.
Here's the thing. There's another former Chief Justice, Sophia Akufo, who's not happy about the decision. In fact, she's gone public on that.
She's an individual just like any other person, and there are a lot of people who are not happy about it. So for me...
But she testified, and her point is, look, if you look at the threshold, this is not something we should be very big on. It's just about travel, you know, and some other few...
No, you see, you can't brush some of these issues aside. For instance, if the law says that if the Chief Justice is on a private trip, you need to go with the security, I think there is a reason for that, because the person in question is Chief Justice. Traveling out there, there is a national security implication if she is abducted today and being forced to do anything, you understand? So there is a reason why a security officer must follow you. So at the preliminary stage, in case something is to happen, maybe the person to a certain extent can do something. Your Chief Justice cannot waive that and ask the person to sit back and take your doctor along and be paying that person per diem. You see, one thing people are not looking at, integrity at that level must be discharged at its uttermost. You cannot impugn it, you cannot disregard it, because this person in question is the administrative head of the judiciary. So you are some sort of an emblem that everybody should be looking at. So you cannot be brushing aside some
all
of
these points you're making.
Nonsense.
Yes, they are fine on paper, but are you sure there's no politics in this?
I'm not sure. You see, I've gone through the process, and then I asked myself, well, any of the processes circumvented? Has there been any constitutional infraction? Has there been any misapplication of the law? And I have listened to a lot of lawyers speak. None of them has been able to pontificate to exact constitutional infraction that has occasioned that far since the activation of this process. You understand? Yes. Beneath it, you can have this, you can say maybe there is some malice, some mischief beneath it, but the question is, can you prove it? Because the whole process has been in line with the Constitution. And for me, that's my worry. And there is one thing that I'm very much concerned about. You see, I refer to the posturing of the sacked Chief Justice. She went to court and prayed the Supreme Court to give her a green light so that the whole process should be shown on TV. And I'm like, what? Because there is there is an explicit constitutional provision to that. And the Supreme Court doesn't have power to vary a constitutional provision. Justice J.C. Amadou Tanko made it clear in his ruling that you are asking us to do the impossible because we do not have the power to vary constitutional provision. That is explicit. There is no ambiguity hanging on that particular clause. So a Chief Justice who should know better, know these things, will go to a Supreme Court and ask them that the proceedings should be shown on TV. Sometimes it beats my imagination. And when that particular option was refused, then she carried the whole petition to TV and did a press conference, creating another legitimate ground for her removal because you've breached a constitutional provision. Article 140 says 8. It states that the whole process must be held in camera. So if you do some of these things, so for me, I think she didn't help herself. And in the course of all these things, instead of focusing on defending the critical issues in the petition, we were dabbling in trivialities, saying things that were unnecessary, procedural breaches and those kind of stuff. And I think that from where I sit, I think nothing wrong has occasioned. I have listened to a lot of people who argue that we need to tighten the Constitution so that in the future, no Chief Justice can be removed. Let me sit here and make it clear that there is no Constitution under the sun that grants absolute power or absolute tenure to anybody under any Constitution under the sun. There is a reason for that. If you are even the most powerful person in this country is the president, there is a window for his removal. Because we are human beings. We can go anywhere at any point in time. So we cannot create an iron shield position and put somebody there. What if the person decides to do things on his own? You understand? So I think what we should be focusing on now is to making sure that whoever becomes a Chief Justice will go through a proper nail. So by the time the person comes out, you know this person is fit for that particular job. I will not be exhibiting these sort of things that we've been seeing in recent times.
And Fatih, you are a lawyer as well. Divided legal opinions on whether or not her removal was appropriate. In fact, there are some who are bringing on new perspectives, indicating that, look, even her removal was just as Chief Justice. That's part of the political argument that's being made. I mean, the legal argument that's being made. That, look, you are removing her only as CJ. You're not removing her as a judge of the Supreme Court. But, I mean, let me get your legal thoughts on her removal.
Okay, first of all, blessed, of course. I've been clouded by two pro-government activists. Of course, Nana, of course. Nana is a presidential staffer. I do not expect her to speak a position that contradicts the position of the president or the ruling party. It will not be fair for me to expect that from her. And then Ivan is a known NDC activist. I do not expect his position to contradict. Oh, of course. I mean, let's have integrity. It's okay. No. So no, but I respect their respective opinions. But I want us, yes, I want us to go into this conversation appreciating the context of this case. And over the period, there has been a bizarre relationship between women at the bench and the NDC. PNDC, NDC, quite a bizarre relationship. In the 80s, of course, we had a situation whereby a female justice of the High Court, a breastfeeding mother, was lured and murdered for doing her work. We had a situation where Justice Georgina Wood was the Chief Justice of the Republic. And then 3 gentlemen, popularly known as the Muntie 3, threatened physical assaults. The court charged them with contempt. They were imprisoned. The president at the time in 2016 granted them presidential pardon. And even before the pardon, ministers of state, including the female ministers at the time, had gone round to solicit signatories to petitions for their removal. That threatening assault, saying you will do something to them, should not warrant any incarceration. And I'm talking about the same proponents of rule of law who today can pick TikTokers for saying things on the live and then causing their arrest, and arrest somebody and go to someone's house and bundle him for posting a picture or video on social media. And then we came to Justice Torkornoo. From the jump, I knew she was a goner because this is a political wish hunt. There is something called prejudice. even before these petitions, and I'm not even talking about the 3 and the last 2, I'm talking about the Professor Asari's first petition to
the one that was done when you were in power.
Yes. Even before that petition came out, anytime leading members of the NDC were on radio or TV, all they said was that when we come to power, we are not going to work with this Chief Justice. The only time they supported this Chief Justice was when they were communicating a justification for why the NDC said the Supreme Court was full. But as soon as they won power, they found dramatically or surprisingly 7 empty spaces to appoint justices to the Supreme Court. But because they are doing it, it's justifiable. And if it is being done by another government, it is not justifiable. I have heard radio interviews, and I have watched some of the radio interviews on YouTube, where the chairman of the NDC, Mr. Johnson, Asiedun Ketia, a.k.a. General Mosquito, has said that the Chief Justice is a goner. And I'm talking about even before a committee is constituted, even before a prima facie case has been established, even before there is a hearing for the outgone Chief Justice to state her side of the story, they had communicated publicly and given the direction and communication to their allies, their third-party so-called neutral allies and everybody to go out there and say the Chief Justice is a goner. The Chief Justice is a goner. Now the next attention should go to the Electoral Commissioner. I wouldn't be surprised if a fictitious petition, a frivolous petition is filed tomorrow against the EC.
There are some already filed.
And then, yes, and then there will be a charade of another Article 146 hearing to remove someone whose qualification is similar to that of a justice of the Superior Court. But one thing is for certain, most of the people who are having commentaries on these issues have not even read the petition based on which the CJ is removed. Neither have they read her response to the petition and the key issues that she raised in them. I have read the 21-page petition that Mr. Daniel Ofori wrote to the president. And I'm basing my submission on that petition because the committee's work, based upon which the president has removed the CJ, is only dependent on the Daniel Ofori petition. Not the shining star, not the Akologo.
Has been suspended.
Yes. Are you the suspension as it stands today is based on Daniel Ofori's petition. Daniel Ofori's petition contained 25 allegations. 1 on purported misbehavior and then 4 on stated incompetence. And the petition did not come with any exhibits or evidence, for which earlier on the CJ was contesting why a petition that has gone to the president for him to onwardly forward it to the Council of State for a determination of prima facie case, when the petition does not even come with exhibits or evidence.
What more evidence do we need?
I am coming to the substance of the petition for the benefit of our viewers and for the purpose of education. Okay. Let's come to the first 3 counts of the allegation that were made against the former CJ. They said the former CJ has traveled to Tanzania, Arusha, with the husband on a holiday, on a vacation, and the state had to pay for it. They said the CJ had traveled to the United States with her daughter on a vacation, and the country had to pay for it. They said she has taken a per diem, an impress of $14,000, and failed to retire it. The CJ has come out to say that, 1, the CJ is not in charge of the travel policy of the judiciary. Number 2, the emolument. No, because I'm coming to Article 71. No. For the purpose of education, we should not circumvent any of the parts. Whatever conditions of service offered a Chief Justice is not determined by the Chief Justice. There was the Prof. Abubando Committee that did the emoluments of the Article 71 office holders, including that of the Office of Chief Justice. And then there is a travel policy for the judiciary, which is being controlled by the Judicial Service. In all of this, the CJ said, no, it is not true that I took $14,000 and I did not retire it. I retired in excess of $9,000. Number 2, by law and convention, the CJ is entitled to 2 paid vacations in a year. So, and I have heard some of the comments from NDC commentators and their signs, including one video I watched of Ivan saying the Chief Justice and the husband even flew business class. And I'm saying this is the head of the judiciary. If the president can take private jet, can take first class, can take charter flights, we want to reduce the office of the Chief Justice to someone not even entitled to business class ticket. And then people have...
It's finding.
I am saying that...
the point.
No.
So how
please,
do you...
please.
Yes.
How do you justify that?
I am saying that when I am coming to what we call threshold. I am saying that if there was an audit finding that the Chief Justice failed to retire the Empress, they would have brought a query for which there would have been a search on that particular
the policy that was violated. The money wasn't meant for neither her husband nor the daughter.
I am saying that before 2010, the travel policy used to state the specific individuals, including spouse. After 2010, we had a situation whereby you have a CJ who may not have a spouse. So they added another person. And it is only reasonable that they remove the spouse and replace it with another person, not security. Anybody peddling that they included that she should go with a security is false. It means they've not read the policy. Another person, as a Chief Justice, going on vacation, which she is entitled to, as stipulated in their travel policy, went with her husband. And the argument is that it should be a basis for stated misbehavior and removal. And we say that is
and that's why I was outraged.
And now I am coming to... I am coming to another issue. Okay. As for public travels or official travel, it's unlimited. It's unlimited. Okay. There is also an allegation in the Daniel Ofori petition talking about the Chief Justice, one, that she has some form of bias in his case with Ecobank. She had an interest of assault, and for that reason, there was a judgment against him in that case. If anybody cares to know, if you go to the Supreme Court, whether they are exercising their exclusive original jurisdiction, whether they are exercising their interpretation and enforcement jurisdiction, whether they are exercising appellate jurisdiction, the CJ does not sit alone. No justice of the Supreme Court sits alone. It is always a panel. If you state that someone has misbehaved because she was a member of a panel that ruled against you, why is there no petition brought against other members of the panel? Because in any case, if there was a panel of 7, if there was a panel of 7, and the CJ had a dissenting opinion, and the other 6 ruled in favor of your case, there was no way the opinion of the CJ was going to override yours. All that I am trying to say is that if you look at the substance of, and I can run you through allegation, responses, back and forth and everything, and tell you one thing, that there shouldn't have been basis for removing the Chief Justice if truly, the intention was to protect the Constitution, to protect the law or the judiciary. The only justification is that they had promised that we want to reset the judiciary. We want to remove these kinds of people and bring our kind of people. And we have won an election that has given us overwhelming goodwill. And at this time, even if we do anything, Ghanaians will not say anything. Right. And that we heard that in the time past there was an EC chair who a petition was brought against under Article 146. So this is our time to get our kind of flesh. And for that reason, she is collateral damage for the previous administration. State that. If you say that with your full chest, I don't mind. But to antagonize the woman, to lie on her, to bring frivolous petitions and constitute a committee whose judgment was known even before they started their work. It's unfortunate.
You see, if the Chief Justice is the head of the Supreme Court, But you see, when you say that me and Ivan, we are going to the straight jacket, it means we are touching our credibility. When it is wrong,
Nana, you know I love you. But you are a staffer. You speak for President Mahama.
But the point
you don't speak for the
Okay, so let's
discuss this.
You discuss it. When did we discuss it? You see,
okay,
when it is wrong, it is wrong. When it is right, it is right. You mentioned the audit report.
Yes.
She was dodging it. I worked in the public service. Once there's an audit report on a matter and it is not dealt with, it will come back and get you. Because this issue we're talking about, once it appeared in an audit report, what actually happened? This morning when I was coming, I was telling myself that I think that we should get the full details of what happened at the committee. That's why they arrived at the decision they arrived at.
Yeah.
Because the speculation is getting too much. We have a constitution, unless the MPP is saying that they don't believe in this 1992 constitution. 1992 constitution from Article 6 to 10 gives you how a chief justice will be removed. But you see, if Fati is going back to when 80s, when there was a coup, then me too, I'll go back to 66. When my auntie was killed because my father was a minister.
Oh, really?
I mean, then we go back to 66. The CPP and the UP tradition. If you are going back into history, we talk about how Kobodu says sister was killed. We'll go back into all that. Do you get me? We all have history. But there are times this nation has moved forward. And once the nation has moved forward, because everybody has a certain kind of history, that has brought us thus far. When you go into the US, the European history, there were wars, there were revolutions, and now they are where they are. So if Fati and her people and her assigned, they want to go back into history, then we'll also go back into history. You see, the point is that the Constitution is here. We have used the Constitution to go through a process. And once that is it, I think that we should all let it be. But the MPP will not let it be. I am surprised. This woman, is she MPP?
Why do you say so?
You asked Ivan a question and he did not answer. You asked that we've brought politics into this. It is the woman who brought politics. Do you know that it is the woman herself who politicized the whole thing? Because the MPP went on demonstration. Look at Fati defending. Is it her business?
Well, she's concerned about the law.
No, I am saying that is it her business to... All of them are defending this woman. I want to find out, is she MPP? Because the evidence on the ground is that MPP is going on a campaign to defend this woman and chide government for doing this. It is not even government who has done this. A petition was brought by a citizen. There were 3 petitions, I guess. Only one had veracity. One. And that is what they used. Fati speaks and forgets about the audit report. That is key.
You've heard from the likes of the former Chief Justice, Sophia Kufu, who says, well, you haven't met the threshold. And she's not the only one there.
Is there a threshold for crime? I never knew that it would come from her. And she's my mother. I like her. She's looking good. The Council of State is doing her well. But is there a threshold for crime? Some people steal goat, and they are given 15 years. Goat. Somebody goes on a farm hungry and steals plantain. They are not given community sentence. They are jailed. Go to Nsawam prisons. Yeah, I deal with the prisons a lot. Go to Kumasi, go everywhere. The young ones. People like my children here, my young ones here, their age, younger than them, they are in prison. And when you ask them, somebody stole plantain, so there's a threshold for crime. She's not saying that nothing has happened, though. She's not saying that the person is totally innocent. She said threshold. Do you get me?
Don't you feel there's a gap in the law when we say stated misbehavior? It's something that can be taken advantage of. Don't you feel that's what the problem is?
I mean, once it's there, till we haven't taken it out. There are things in this constitution that has to be looked at. For instance, I was talking to somebody, and we all agree that the majority of ministers coming from parliament is problematic. You get me?
So the constitution has some...
Yeah, it has to be looked at. But I am
she's
saying
not
that,
giving... Oh, okay, right.
But I am saying that as it stands now, this is what has happened. So for anybody to conjecture that, oh, the MDC made up their mind to remove her, she herself hasn't helped herself. The politics and the drama she herself brought around it did not help her case. Now, I've heard she's in some court.
Yes, I was just going to point to that. The ECOWAS court.
Yes, that her human rights has been violated.
10 million US.
What human rights is that? Me, I never knew. Me, I've always said that maybe she's one of the jewels we haven't discovered. Maybe she's... I don't understand. Why is she saying that her human... What was done to her? She shouted on somebody, Thaddeus sorry, in court, openly. During the parliament issue, she shouted on Thaddeus sorry, openly. And she herself said that no matter how you squirm your face, no matter how you twist your lips, no matter how you bat your eyelids, no matter how you turn your eyebrows, the law is the law. It came from her. And the face, the gestures that she made showed that, yes, the law is the law. So now if you have used the law, what is wrong with it? Once the law, you see, nobody just said that, I have written a letter, you are sacked. You went through the process, and you see sometimes when
But with how fast the president acted on the reports, is it not a bit...
Was it fast?
No, I mean, in terms of, the moment it was presented, hours after...
No, but
the announcement was made that...
No, but the Constitution, does it give time? Well, the Constitution does not tell you what kind of petition you should look at. It is not there. So once it is not there, whatever petitions come to you, you have to pass it on. So you think that the president has something in mind, so he was waiting for it to act fast? I do not think so.
Now, deal with this for me, then I bring in the audience. How true is the speculation?
So much so don't stop me.
How true is the speculation that with what's happening now, your next target is the Electoral Commission? Some say, well, from here, you're moving to some other...
I don't know about that one, but this is what I know. But this is what I am talking about.
The chairperson of the NDC has said that. He says, well, all of them will go.
He said that?
Yes.
I didn't hear him, so I cannot contribute to that. I did not hear him say this. This is the first. I don't know the basis, the context in which he said it. Do you get me?
You didn't hear it?
No, it's true. I didn't hear the context. Maybe he was saying something, and within that context, he made a comment. So it would be very unfair for me to say yes or no. You get
so you want to go and watch the video?
Yeah, I'll come. So you see, that's what I'm saying, that we should try and stop the speculation. And one thing that also worries me is the fact that on this committee are very credible and men of integrity. Maybe I didn't speak the English well. On this committee are men of integrity and men who are credible. Do you get me? My professor is there, Jisa. Jisa taught me. You cannot tell me under any circumstance that Jisa is not a credible person. Domlevo, if you engage Domlevo, if you engage him, the man is straight. Justice Palman. There's another judge there. There's even a major. So are you telling me that all these people sat and they all agree that this is it? Especially Domlevo. Domlevo will tell you as it is. Domlevo has gone through the process. He was removed. He went through court and he was acquitted. And now he's here. So are you telling me that you don't even respect those people? You see, the life of the MPP in this country is very, very troublesome. It's very, very, very problematic because everything they would make sure that they make some politics out of it. They should rather think about how to build their party. Their party is now in crisis and in tatters. Okay. It is time for them to build it. But Dean, I want to tell you, sir, he's called Dean, eh? Yeah, Dean. Kamal Dean. Yeah. Okay. You know what? You talked about visa fees. You were saying about visa fees. But you know there was a time that a foreign minister went out to say that the visa fees were too high. especially with the UK at the time. No, one of the foreign ministers, I think it was Ayokoboche.
No, I'm talking about whether the visa fee is high or not. I'm talking about where an embassy quotes its own rates as opposed to what the government.
The embassies are different.
No, but they are within the country.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the embassies are different. They have their own, different currencies. They have their own operations.
So for the sake of time, let's.
You know, there's time and you give.
I'm
just coming to her again straight away. I want to ask Yaa Jantuah whether the NDC, the Charlotte Osei was also NDC. This is City News. 29th June 2018, NDC to stage demo over Charlotte Osei removal. I want to find out if the Charlotte Osei was also NDC.
I am saying that if any politics is in the... Are we asking whether there was politics in Charlotte Osei? I am saying that if there's any politics here...
No, you asked that...
You're asking if the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice...
is MPP.
No,
and I'm also asking when the NDC plan to stage the move over Charlotte Osei's removal. Was she also NDC?
Dean, I am saying that I don't know what Charlotte Osei is.
I'm done.
You get me?
You are evasive.
Okay, so
yes,
I'm not coming to... Ivan, I just want to quickly...
I don't know what Charlotte Osei...
No, for her to have raised it, now I'm countering what she said.
Okay.
Yes, we are not countering it.
She said she doesn't know.
I don't know. And I don't know this one
You have to give me some preferential treatment.
Why should we give you preferential? Why should we give you preferential? Why should we give you preferential?
So I think Ivan made a certain comment. I was taken aback about the issue being in camera, and then she requested that it should be shown. Ivan, we're all in this country when the election petition was granted to be heard because of the national interest. So it tells you that much as there are stated rules, but when something develops national interest, at least certain aspects can be, or certain rules can be sidestepped to cater for it. So when the election petition was being telecast on television, I don't think any violation of the constitution was.
No. But you see, and then again, the problem here is I haven't gone on to equalization. If we start equalizing, then we will not finish.
I'm deducing from what?
No, we cannot equalize. If we want to equalize,
but there are two different.
So let me go straight to my take.
Yes, please go straight.
Listen, this is my joint online. 28th August 2022. I'm reading this because I'm part of the proponents who feel like the issue of the Chief Justice was a fait accompli, even in opposition. It will take a new Chief Justice to repair broken image of judiciary, Mahama. That is 2022. So it was something already pre-planned that when they come into office, they are really going to get her out. And that is what they've done. And Blazer, let me put it on record. You stated you made a point about stated misbehavior of Article 146. I sitting here as Kamal Amasama Bruni, I've resolved that if there's a change in government, within a day or two, I'm also going to write a petition using...
But you don't know who the next...
Yeah, I don't... No, but now it's looking like it's contemporaneous with a sitting president, because I'm also going to exploit the weaknesses of the stated misbehavior, which is not well defined in the Constitution, to write a petition. Because today, I can equally write a petition against a Chief Justice by virtue of the fact that a meeting is supposed to start, say, at 9, and he comes at 10. I can state it as misbehavior. So it's either now they have a rubber stamp parliament, they can use it to well define what stated misbehavior is, or we all exploit the loophole that is in there to a petition against a future Chief Justice. That is my proposition.
You see, Blaise, the point is that this posture of Kamal is very interesting. When it is their turn, they want you to treat them like some babies. You have to pamper them and mold them. Do you get me? When listen to what he said, and I've heard it variously, that when we come, we are going to make sure that we write a petition.
Some say it's because of the precedence that is being set now.
What precedent? So what about Charlotte? Me, I'm sitting here. If I tell you my story, you weep for me. Do you get me? Do you get me?
Yeah.
If you hear my this thing.
Okay.
So I am telling you that, you see, when it is them, why are they doing that? Because the woman you are saying is not MPP. Me, I don't know her political decision. Right. Now you are going to avenge her. on her behalf, because then you are going to write a petition because she's your person or what?
Okay. For the sake of time, maybe Fatih wants to chip in something.
Just two quick interventions.
Right.
One, on the fact that there was an audit report on the findings on the travels. Right. Let me remind you that when the Auditor General's report is released, it is not conclusive. And that is the very reason why people within the public sector are called before the Public Accounts Committee to come for justification. And if they are able to provide further and better particulars, then the issue is conclusive. When the audit report came, the Judicial Secretary actually responded. And after the response, there was no further engagement or complaints or concerns on that issue, meaning the justification was sufficient. If anybody anywhere says they have a document showing that when the Judicial Secretary responded to the said query with regards to the travels, and that there was any additional information from the Auditor General's office that they were not satisfied, it's not true.
Okay, let's go into the audience. I want to hear from many of you, then I'll come back to
audit report and the responses.
Briefly.
Yaa Jantuah. There've been a barometer, barometer survey, and then it states that almost about 85% of Ghanaians have lost trust in the judicial system. So we believe that the removal of the CJ is part of the reset in our system, in the judicial system. I want to know, it's on my joy that Akufo-Addo has packed the court with MPP-inclined judges. We must balance it. Mahama to end his lawyers. My joy, and date is 3rd September 2023. So some of us believe that this removal of the CJ is politically motivated or
it's premeditated, you want to say?
Yeah. So I want to ask, how is this going to reset or bring back the trust that Ghanaians want to have in the judicial system? I want to ask. Yaa Jantuah.
Great question there. Let's go behind. There are some more people. Okay, so let's do the one in front. Oh, there's a gentleman in front beside you, Kamal. Okay, we'll come back to him. Let's hear from the gentleman there.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think just like what my brothers earlier said, what makes it look political is what the NDC, their position in opposition, what they said about the judiciary and the Chief Justice in question. So they come in government and doing it. It's just like they just going by what they said in opposition. So what we are saying is that the president has an arm of government, which is the executive, and now they have majority in parliament. So through a rubber stamp, that side also is more like to the president. So leaving the judiciary out, which is going to stand in to make sure our democracy is in good standing, then going there to take away the CJ now makes it look like you've undermined the whole democracy we have in this country. Because as of now, the only arm of government that is distinct or that stands in for the people is the judiciary. Because currently we know the president has the executive and then the legislature. So what we are saying is that the president has set a very dangerous precedent that any government that may come in will want to tour that same path, in the sense that you've gone in to take out a chief justice who has an arm of government, who has the judiciary. You've just kicked her out just like a polling station executive.
But, there's a question Ivan was asking. Where's the proof? I mean, the law was used. Where's the proof or evidence to say that she wasn't giving a fair hearing?
Oh, personally, with what we've heard or what we've seen, we can say it's not unconstitutional, it's constitutional. Just like how Ivan said, the constitution itself has already outlived its usefulness, because currently checking through the process, it's just like the president, the Council of State at that side has already been politicized, then coming into the committee being formed by the same president. So it's just like when the president wants to take out the CJ, it's just checking through the constitution, just giving Council of, getting petitions to Council of State, getting a case, and then forming a committee to just take the CJ out.
Yeah, hand the microphone to Julius, because Julius disagrees with you. Then there's a lady behind as well. She wants to make an intervention. Yes, Julius, yes.
Yes, I would first of all use this opportunity to greet my mentor, that's Honorable Joycelyn Tete, MP for Not Dying. In this issue, sometimes we get confused as youths coming up, because anytime there is a matter of national affairs, it becomes like the opposition always comes in to support the one that is going in the other way. That is the CJ like this. The petition was brought. It was taken to the Council of Elders, Council of States.
Yes.
It was taken through the right channel as the Constitution directs. So I don't see where the Parliament, the majority that has been given to the NDC has to do with this. It will only come in when these procedures were not taken, but just jumped into conclusion that, yes, CJ, we are resigning you.
Kamal has given a number of events leading to this,
Right.
saying that there are links. The former president has even said something. The current president has even said something about that before in opposition. Is that not enough evidence to prove?
I should keep a banana under a cloth for 2 weeks, and I sit somewhere, somebody tells me that what you kept there, the next week you go there, it will rot. And exactly a week later, you go there and it rots. Does that mean he caused the banana to rot or the nature? So it's just like going to meet...
So you're trying to say it's bound to happen?
Yes.
That's what you want to tell us.
It's just like meeting a marking scheme. I've marked your script. This guy also marks the same script of the for another person. And then at the end of the day, we compare the two. We see that even though we have the same marking scheme, this guy marked in favor of the person against the marking scheme. So if I should take the same script and mark according to the marking scheme, which is the Constitution, I don't see anything bad with it.
Julius, thank you. There's a lady behind. Let's give her a priority then, and then I'll come to the gentleman in front. Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm Jamila Bagaya. With regards to the Chief Justice, I think we should not politicize this issue because she said the law is the law. So once you go contrary to the law or you violate the law, the rules should also, you should also face the rules. So, and looking at what His Excellency JMS he's on a mission of reset. So anybody who tries to go contrary to the country's direction...
I hope you're not threatening. I hope you're not threatening us. Because that would mean that you and Nanaya, you come and take all of us from the studio as well, as part of reset.
No, this is not a trait.
Yeah,
but we've seen that there were breakages at the judicial system.
I get the
so
point.
it needs a reset. So I would encourage every citizen and our leaders to try as much as possible to obey and let us serve the country's interest rather than our own selfish interest.
Okay. So because of time, let me take Ivan. We'll go on a break and then come back. So we'll take other thoughts as well. Ivan.
Yeah, Blessed. I think this whole process is not a novelty. It's not as if this is the first time this particular provision has been activated. And I think playing the female card in this instance will not wash because the last time I checked, Charlotte Osei wasn't a man. You understand? I'm not seeking to do retroactive justification, but the fact is that Charlotte Osei went through the same process and then she was removed. You see, on the travel policy, this is not a travel policy for Bank of Ghana or any other institution. It is for the judiciary. So if there should be anyone who should have much understanding, it should be the Chief Justice, who is the administrative head of the judiciary.
There's an interesting point for TV,
yes.
And I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That, look, it's not conclusive, right? Because it will go through a process, the infractions will be raised at Public Accounts Committee, and then a final report is issued.
Yes.
So, in that case, you are concluding just at the auditing infraction level?
No, if we use just the report as a basis for her removal without getting the opportunity to meet a committee, she met a committee. There was a former AG in the committee. She went there with her lawyers. She had a day with the committee. She probably...
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the committee. I'm talking about what Fatih is saying about the audit findings. It's not conclusive.
Yes, but see, that audit finding not being conclusive, details of it was espoused at the committee level.
And there was an auditor, a former auditor general.
Because a former auditor general is there. The woman might actually gone there to state the same thing Madam Fatih said, and the details might have been espoused there. You understand? So that is not an argument. Again, traveling with the security is something that cannot be waived. The Chief Justice is supposed to travel with the security, just like the President. President Mahama cannot just wake up and say, I'm going to Tamale and I'm going alone. I watched an interview that George Bush granted. He said the thing he likes doing most is driving, but the Secret Service told him, hey, you cannot drive. You understand? So sometimes the security implications, because some of these individuals walking comes with some level of security risk. You understand? You are not alone.
Yes.
The security implications are quite obvious. So you cannot just travel alone. I mean, my argument has always been that, you see, if you look at the judiciary before this whole thing, wasn't the fact that the judiciary of this country became a subject of public mortification on various social media platforms? Was it? It became an article of ridicule on various platforms. Instances where rulings were coming from the Supreme Court and people were subjecting it to some kind of ridicule. You had a famous unanimous study. That tells you that public trust and confidence in this institution were low. You understand? It got to a time we had a failed parliamentary candidate who was actually handpicked and put on the Supreme Court. Yes, qualification, he has all the qualifications, but you see, we are doing politics. We are not dealing with animals or some kind of robot, people with emotions. When you do some of these things, you rob integrity from the very institution you are seeking to protect.
No, but it wouldn't be the first time, is it? I think there's one justice who used to be with the, is it PNC or so? He used to be the
so you see, I'm telling you that, you see,
he used to be. So
yes,
it's not the first.
No, I understand, but you see, our politics has evolved. Yeah. We are growing as a country. Yeah. There are certain things that were done in the past, but doesn't mean that we can play the same cards here, because we know the kind of acrimonious politics that we do with this NDC, MPP. Anybody with known ties to these political parties, handpicking such an individual and put him on such a sensitive institution would discredit the institution. Because in one of the instances, I listened to lawyer Tidal Sorry, who raised an objection that justice should be removed from the bench because of his political past.
Yes, showing the ruling.
Yes, the Chief Justice brushed that particular. You see, the point that he raised, there were other side of it that people didn't pay much attention to. Especially at the time the judiciary appeared to have gotten so dirty in the eyes of the public. We need to do something to sanitize. Doesn't mean that we have to sacrifice the Chief Justice, because for me, the Chief Justice is just a small part, a small piece of the larger puzzle that we are seeking to unravel. And for me, sanitizing the judiciary is the ultimate. And I'm urging President Mahama, removing the Chief Justice with this, that should be the starting point. Because for me, we need to be very effective and make sure.
So you want more people to go?
Oh, no, Sanitizing judiciary doesn't mean removing people. Don't misquote me. Sanitizing the judiciary doesn't mean removing people. What I mean is that, what I'm trying to point out is that in the eyes of the public, the public confidence and trust isn't there. So the president must do everything just to ensure that confidence once again return to this institution. You understand? Because
the round
and then before we go. Okay, right.
Yes, we need to build public trust and confidence in this institution, that the Ghanaian will feel comfortable that, hey, because over the years, if you look at the legislature, it's partisan football. It depends where you stand across the political divide. If you come to the executive, depending on who is in power, sometimes a lot of things happen.
I get the point.
If there is an institution, we cannot afford to lose its fidelity, neutrality, independence. That should be the judiciary. The judiciary should be espousing integrity at the highest level, and that should not be compromised. So any signs contrary to that, I think the state has a responsibility to move in and curb and weed out some of these things. And that will make it sanitized.
There's so much pressure from the technical side to take a break, but let's get the interventions before we do that.
Let's quickly, for the purpose of education and without prejudice.
In fact, Abu at my journal line says, ask Fati whether the purpose of good conduct, even if the office is to give the office holder such goodies, shouldn't they reflect it like Mills did? So it's about higher standards where she is, isn't it?
And I'm saying that for the purpose of education and without prejudice to the justices who I'm coming to use, for example. But in response to Ivan's submission, I want to state emphatically that under the 1992 Constitution's regime, having been politically exposed and having served political office has never been a bar to being appointed to any of the courts in Ghana, not at the lower courts and not at the superior courts. And specifically, let me give you this example. Justice George Boedi He used to be the NDC MP for Amenfi East. He was appointed from 1993 to 2001. He was appointed to the High Court, and nobody raised any issue with it because in both capacities he was serving the country. Justice Amos Lawebuete, he used to be the NDC MP for Adan from 1993 to 2004, and the Deputy Greater Accra Regional Minister. He was appointed as a High Court judge in the Mills Mahama administration. Nobody said anything. Justice Francis Jamfiri Kobie, former MP for Jirapa, 1993 to 2001. He was appointed as a Court of Appeals judge. Justice Gabriel Puaman, former General Secretary of PNC. He was appointed to the Supreme Court by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in 2015. Justice Yao Apau, he was a former PNDC Deputy Secretary for BA. He was appointed by Prof. Mills and JD as a judge in 2016. No. It's not about justification. But the earlier submission seemed to suggest that sanitizing the judiciary means political element or perceived political elements or persons purported to be politically exposed should completely be removed from the judiciary. I'm saying by convention, by practice, it has never been an issue.
Fatih, I believe you speak for the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
That's your new post.
I'm one of the No, it's public knowledge.
Yeah. So
I didn't know.
So this is the point.
Congrats.
He's been accused of being part of the challenge that we have, because when he was, adding more judges to the Supreme Court, the claim is that he had packed the Supreme Court with people who were,
assuming without admitting that President Akufo-Addo packed the Supreme Court, where did the current president, John Dramani Mahama, got the empty space to put 7 judges in the Supreme Court? Not that some people retired and were being replaced, not that there were any incidents.
Some have retired.
The court, I'm saying at the time of the appointment, it was not a replacement exercise.
Right.
It was a packing exercise. But I never sat on any platform to make an issue out of it because there is a basic qualification for who can be at the Supreme Court. President Akufo-Addo did not pick an NPP full soldier who is not a lawyer in good standing with the requisite experience and qualification to the court. But I'm saying in 8 months, you have put already seven in 8 months. And if it is a trend to go by the end of 4 years, if we want to come and do the comparisons and all that, let's wait till the end of 4 years and count the number of justices that the NPP administration appointed to any of the superior courts in 4 years, and compare them to the number of justices that today, as the floodgates are being appointed.
His Excellency JM is learning very well from His Excellency Nana Addo. It's a good thing. Yes, he's learning from his predecessor. That's what we want. It's a good thing. But he said you packed and he is learning from you. So the point is that you asked a very fundamental question, a good question, that the resetting of the judiciary. I don't think it's about political people there, but the process itself. You have to go to the courts sometimes to see what goes on there. I'm chiding anybody. Do you get me? So when the president talks about making sure that the judiciary is reset, I don't think it's about sacking people.
Yeah.
Do you understand me?
Looks like
and then also the point that what somebody says, the people are sacking. What somebody says in opposition, what somebody says in opposition does not mean that even if it happens, I should cut.
We'll take a break and then
because I want to continue.
Yes, so that you make that point for us. You're watching Prime Minister. We'll be right back. Please stay. All right, thanks. And what a conversation we've been having before this. Let me give Nanaya the final take so we can, of course, draw the curtains on the program for today, Nana.
I'm saying that if somebody is in opposition and they say something, if you have done things right, you would not have any problem. When I was in PURC at the time as a director for PR, my son's friends who were in Tescon used to tell him that when we come, you see what we do to your mother. Do you get me?
Really? You used to say that?
Yes. This man who is dead, who used to be at, what was his name? The former general secretary. The very controversial dead man. What's his name? Sir John. Sir John told me and said it publicly that what they would do to me when they come to power, they will put pepper in my eyes. Do you get me? Yes. They put pepper in my eyes, but I went through it because I didn't do anything. I went through pepper, proper pepper. But you see, if somebody says it and you haven't done anything, you go through it, you suffer a bit. But what? Me, I resigned on my own. Today I resigned because I thought that's why I've served Ghana all these years and why should I go through this? But somebody said it, they orchestrated it, they said it on TV, radio, they said it everywhere. And they'll put pepper in my eyes. And so the fact that President Mahama said it, if the woman went through and there was nothing, why should anybody let her go? And you see, one thing that we should all know is that, you see, President Mahama is very, very upbeat about women. And you didn't watch his body language. One day he said something. He said, why has she gone out to speak? I mean, I saw it in his body. He said, why has she gone out to speak? It's even possible that there are things that we do not know that has been hidden. That's why I'm saying that for the noise of the MPP, they should bring everything out for us to know. You see, the fact that somebody responded to an audit report doesn't mean that it has been accepted. And sometimes you also consider the person involved. I worked in the public service for so long. 27 years I was there. Yes, sometimes I regret that I should have left earlier. And I advise anybody not to stay that long. Yes. Because when the audit report comes and you respond, and the auditor is not satisfied, sometimes they don't escalate it. Because maybe this is the Chief Justice. Somebody will go behind and say, okay, this one, and things like that. So, I believe that if this woman hasn't done anything, nobody would come after her. And we should give respect to the committee.
Right. Okay, let me just do 30 seconds, Ivan, and then you, Fatih, then we wrap up. Yes.
Ivan, 30 seconds.
Yes. That's a quick one. I think that appointing individuals with non-party ties to any of the courts isn't illegal. But I'm saying that for the optics of it and where we've got into, the advances we've made in our democracy, some of these things has to be taken care of, a second look at, and then how to situate it in such a way that we don't court public opprobrium or some sort of sentiment that will be expressed in a certain negative manner. And again, when I mention sanitizing, if you go down to the lower court and sometimes you follow some of the rulings coming out from those places, it's shocking and mind-boggling. And I think we need to pay much attention to the lower court and sanitizing, you understand? And also put a ceiling on the Supreme Court. I think with the Constitutional Review Committee, we need to padlock it at the top to prevent any future overblow.
Fatih, the last
in conclusion, I am saying that as it stands now, it appears as a country we don't know what constitutes stated misbehavior under Article 146. And looking at how frivolous the allegations brought against Justice Torkornoo, we can only presume that in the future, if any citizen of the country feels a discomfort, no matter how subjective it is, they can even bring a petition that this Chief Justice looked at me funny. And it will be sufficient for them to constitute a panel and establish a prima facie case and remove the served CJ. So the floodgates are open. The threshold is there. And we shall learn.
Give Fatih one-on-one on this matter.
A round of applause for my panel as well. And that's all we have for you here on Prime Insight. Grateful to Fatima Abubakar, former Minister for Information, to Ivan Che, and also to Yaa Jantuah for joining us. And to you in the audience as well. We'll see you again. For those of you watching at home, this has been Prime Insight. I am Blessed Sunga. We can connect on social media at Blessed Sunga. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.